Katie Shambliss of Loving Without Boundaries. I am delighted to be here with Coach B for our topic today, which is becoming confident with boundaries. We are excited to have this conversation with you all and to be here with you. So you might be seeing this in various places on social media. So if you are part of our community, we are happy to have you here. If you are not part of our community and you would like to be, you can feel free to come find us over on Facebook. If you do a search for Loving Without Boundaries, Healthy Open Relationships and Lifestyle Freedom. And you can also find us online at our website, lovingwithoutboundaries.com, where you can find also our podcast of the same name, and also lots of great free resources. My book that I've written, Jealousy Survival Guide, How to Feel Safe, Happy, and Secure in an Open Relationship, and many other resources for you, other book recommendations. We are here to support you on your journey to live life on your terms, free from jealousy and insecurity, shame and guilt, or the pain of past infidelity when you are looking to be in some sort of consensual and non-monogamous relationship, and all from a sex positive lens. So with that, I'm going to give the mic over to B to start off our discussion here about becoming confident with boundaries, and we'll have a beautiful discussion. Thanks, B.
Thank you, Kiri. Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're gonna talk boundaries today. One of the what I keep calling the essential triad in consensual non-monogamous relationship, to be like pay attention to, like really it's like emotional regulation, communication, and boundaries. So I want to say from the start that no matter where you are on your boundary journey, how confident you are at the moment, if you even know what boundaries are and how they differ from, for example, rules, I really want to validate your journey and just say that it's okay wherever you're at, because we're not taught usually, not most of us, how we grow up and not supported to have healthy boundaries and not really modeled by our environment. So it can take some time and digging and sometimes working with a professional to start establishing healthy boundaries. And the other thing that sometimes for people, including myself, when I started my boundary journey, can come as a surprise, and it's also helpful to give ourselves grace in a process that often we don't know that we want to set boundaries up until something positive or something unwanted happens. So this is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong journey for myself as well, and I learn something new every single day when something happens, and actually I want to set a boundary around that. Oh, that felt great. So let's have more of that. Or, oh, that was ouchy. So maybe I want to create some boundary around that. And why we talk about this particular topic in CNM today is because it's such a foundational piece to build confidence over time and practice and consistency in your consensual non-monogamous relationships, so that you can get the best experience out of the lifestyle. So you can enjoy the joy that comes with open relationships. And two areas that I want to touch on just really briefly, where it can be really striking when you want to look into where you want to grow your boundary skill set, is when an established relationship moves into a new phase. For example, you open up your relationship for the first time. Someone now starts identify with their truth of being bisexual from heterosexual. You start cohabiting with each other. You have a child, a new metamor enters the dynamic. So it can bring up certain tensions in the relationship, and how we can finally resolve those tensions, our boundaries. And sometimes those tensions point toward, maybe we want to do something to up-level our boundary skill set. And the other area of open relationships where it maybe worth to pay attention to your existing boundary skills and where you want to improve that is when you enter in new relationships. So I know from experience that if one doesn't do the prep work with boundaries and clarity on your needs and values and how you communicate what you are about and what you prefer, it can end up in spectacular messes sometimes, and really painful ongoing struggles, because if you're not done the boundary prep work, then it might take quite a lot of time, even years, to figure out a healthy and fulfilling path forward. So it's really important to talk about boundaries, whether you are in an already established relationship and something shifts, or you enter into new relationships within the lifestyle.
Mhm. Thank you for getting us started on this topic, B. I really appreciate this topic because, as you've implied, we often have no idea how to set healthy boundaries. And often, the families we've grown up in or from religious backgrounds, we may actually almost be taught to have the opposite of healthy boundaries, to have no boundaries at all, or to put our needs on the back burner, or to people please, or to become a martyr in different situations, which can just become like very familiar to us. And so we start to replicate those patterns with us in our interpersonal relationships as we become adults. And we don't even realize that we're doing that because we've never been taught how to have healthy boundaries. And uh, B knows that for both of us, this has been a big journey for us. And we're something that we're both constantly studying and researching so that we can be the best possible mentors and coaches and leaders for our community here at Loving Without Boundaries, and the beautiful folks that we get to serve, because it's normal and natural to have difficulty or struggles with setting healthy boundaries, especially when you've never been taught. I mean, think about it. We may not have been taught in our family of origin, certainly not in school, oftentimes not in our religious upbringing either. Even in college, you like, I don't recall ever seeing a class on healthy boundary setting that you could sign up for as an elective. I mean, it's kind of incredible when you think about it. So I really appreciate this topic, B, and you bring it to our attention. So I'll give the mic back over to you to continue the conversation.
Thank you, Kiri, for further highlighting that. Actually, we're not really. Many of us haven't grown up in a culture that supports healthy boundary setting, and one of the consequences that I've seen with so many people, and it was definitely true for me as well at the beginning. You might remember how confused I was about boundaries and
Yes.
rules and control, and what's the distinction around that. So one of the really painful things that can appear once you start understanding what boundaries are and setting boundaries is that the old patterns of shame and that something is wrong with your need, you shouldn't have any needs, or you keep collapsing. Even if you have the best intentions and the best skill set, once you get to a conversation when you want to set a boundary, you collapse back into this old programming that there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with the relationship, if it means that you have to set boundaries. And unfortunately, if this cycle keeps going on, if you keep doubting your own boundaries, if you feel shame around your own boundaries, what can happen is, Kiri, you already mentioned, like people pleasing, for example. So we might revert back into the people pleasing patterns, folding with our boundaries, and that further is gonna decrease confidence, or confidence in our boundaries. So it's just gonna create more shame. So we basically like enter into this cycle of doubt and shame. And if we don't stop it, don't look into what stops us from setting boundaries, and don't do something about it in an empowering way, then this cycle will just keep going on and on and on. And it can also affect how we respond if others have a difficulty accepting our boundaries at first. So we might start negotiating with ourselves, or try to convince ourselves, oh, maybe they're right and I'm wrong here. So there's this inner dialogue and this self-critic cycle going on as well, if we don't stop this old programming that most of us take from our upbringing and our environment. So it's really important to notice what type of feelings come up when we set boundaries, what kind of challenges in our body, what kind of thoughts and beliefs we attach to boundary settings, so we can get down under the root cause, what stops us from our confidence in setting boundaries, and we can start turning it around into confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that, B. And I think I love that you brought up that idea of confidence around boundary setting. And there can be a lack of confidence if folks don't even really understand what boundaries are. So just super briefly, just the way we talk about it here at Loving Without Boundaries, we think of when we use the word rules. Here we're talking about when we're attempting to control another person's behavior to help us to feel more comfortable. That's when we're kind of setting rules around other people. Whereas boundaries are actually about ourselves, our own values, honoring what we are willing to tolerate in our lives, and understanding what we're not willing to tolerate in our lives, our own limits. And you can think of boundaries as maybe making requests of other people, like, hey, this is me and this is my boundary. Are you willing to honor it or not? We often like to say, bring the data, not the drama, right? And then agreements, the way we talk about that here, because there's different ways that we can think about these words, because they're just simply a tool to try and express ourselves to each other. Agreements are really when we get clarity around our values, we get clarity around our boundaries and our needs, and all parties are putting those on the table, and you're doing your best to balance that out and honor everybody with mutual respect, with mutual understanding, and then authentically and willingly come to an agreement that works for everybody. And you may not get it right the first time, so I think just making that understanding is helpful, to understand that the boundary work is your responsibility. It's not somebody else's responsibility to do, but that can also give you a lot of confidence, to bring it back to that idea of confidence. And the other thing I'll touch on here is that when we don't really understand what boundaries are and how they're unique to each individual, we could have a belief system that could cause us to feel hurt when somebody is explaining their boundary to us, and we could take it personally, like, did I do something wrong, or why is this person setting this boundary, instead of understanding that it's partly about you honoring that other person's autonomy and their right to understand and work on their own boundaries. And it's their job to communicate it respectfully and calmly to you as best as they can, and to question. It's okay to look inside and notice that you might be feeling hurt, but to question a little bit where that hurt is coming from. Is it that you might be taking that person's boundary personally, or is there maybe something else going on? And then being able to have the communication tools to be able to talk about that with another person. Just to give you an example, B knows this, I have different folks in my life, more actually on the friendship side of things, where I've had to set some boundaries about how those relationships work, including one I'm actually going to be setting today. And I can be worried about that other person being hurt by me setting that boundary, and know that I'm doing it for my own self-care, my own self-preservation, knowing what my limits are, and then be standing in my own confidence as I set that boundary with another human being, knowing that it is for my self-care and it's also for theirs. It's for the good of everybody, because we often say sometimes people are in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Not everyone's meant to be in our lives for, till death do us part. Sometimes we have somebody in our lives for 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. And maybe then it's time to take a step back and set a boundary with that person if things have possibly started to become toxic or just not in alignment with your values. So just to give that as an example, and I'll give the mic back over to you, B.
Yeah, really great points, Kiri. And I want to build further on both points, like taking things personally if someone sets a boundary and the boundary is about me. So like one example of a boundary that's about me, that you actually you set a beautiful example here, is if someone else gets hurt by my boundary, I won't get hurt. That's a boundary that I set. That's a healthy boundary that I set with myself, and that I give a positive meaning to my boundary setting is a boundary in itself. So that's one of the reasons why you absolutely want to make sure that you build confidence over time and with giving grace to yourself and other people, because this is really a lifetime of journey in their boundary setting, because it really is such a foundational cornerstone of enjoying relationships and getting the most out of relationships, including friendships, relationship with colleagues, so whatever type of relationship you're navigating. And of course, boundaries are very, very important in consensual non-monogamy. So for example, if you're lacking confidence in your boundary skills, and with that you're taking personally someone else's boundaries. Let's say a new metamor enters your relationship dynamic, and you notice that your partner starts spending time with them, or they enjoy their new relationship phase, and that can trigger comparisons inside of you, for example, which also falls into boundary setting, that I stop comparing. That's my own healthy boundary. And if I take their boundaries person, that they enjoy their relationship with this other person, disempowering and really painful meanings can come out that this was the plan all along, that they wanted to be with this person and they want to leave me behind. I'm being abandoned, I'm being rejected, I'm being neglected. So the spiral just keeps going and going and going and going. So not taking things personally, learning to do that is also part of a boundary setting. So it's a life-changing skill set. Once you start like digging really into that, it changes. It's a complete game changer in all relationships, including the relationship with ourselves.
Yes. And in the context of our Loving Without Boundaries community, it's a game changer in intimate and romantic relationships, in relationships with our friends, and also relationships with our family members, because sometimes we need to set boundaries with them too. And that's also still from the lens of living your most authentic life, because sometimes our family members, especially maybe the older generation, may not understand what living your most authentic life means for you, and may have very conservative views around that. And you may need to set some boundaries with family members, and that can be extremely challenging. Right? And B and I have both experienced that in our own lives. So some things just in terms of how do you move forward. One is getting more clarity about what your most cherished values are, so that you can live in alignment with your values, showing up as the best version of you. Understanding what your highest needs are. Is one of your highest needs for certainty, safety, and security? Is it more about freedom and variety and adventure? Or what is it for you? Is it about love and connection? And getting more clarity around that. And also working on how to communicate your boundaries compassionately, respectfully, and calmly, so that other people are clear on what your boundaries are, and learning how to make requests of other people versus demands. Although sometimes you may have to be possibly assertive with expressing your boundaries if you're dealing with somebody who maybe keeps overstepping your boundaries over and over again. And then you may have to create a stronger boundary with that individual when something like that happens. And these are things that we navigate with the beautiful folks that we get to work with all the time. So I'd love to see what else you'd like to add there, B.
One thing that I would like to add to this is something that's really stuck with me, and maybe a very very simple thing here, but can be really catchy to help you. Like how do you get confident with boundaries? So I really love this quote, like how to do the thing is to do the thing. So get into practicing. So Kiri, already you touched on like identifying, you're getting that clarity about yourself, like what do you stand for, what's important for you, what are the standards for your life, what values would you like to get expressed, how do you want to feel, is it joy, is it self-expression, is it authenticity, what are your most important needs, is it safety, is it connection, is it contribution? So get to learn about you and then start practicing, because the fastest way to get confident with boundaries is to give ourselves plenty of opportunities to practice this particular skill set, and that's going to help depersonalize with other people's boundaries as well. If you learn to be confident about your own, and you validate your own boundaries for yourself, then you start seeing the boundaries of others less threatening as well, because you see that we're all in this together. We just want to get our needs met, and we're either in alignment or we're not in alignment, and we can still part ways amicably if it turns out that we're not in alignment. So yeah, it's a beautiful skill set to master.
Yeah,
sure.
I absolutely agree, including that we can work towards parting ways amicably. I've often been reading and learning about conscious uncoupling. And again, we can do that in our intimate relationships or other relationships as well. And that's also a skill that we can be building. So if any of this is resonating with you, if you've realized that you have your own boundaries work to do, if you're still wrapping your head around what the heck even is a boundary, know that this is exactly the type of work that we get to do with our beautiful, cherished clients. And if you want to have a conversation to see if working together might be the right option for you, if you want to get some clarity around what you are struggling around, and we can see if we are a fit to help you with that, we are delighted to have a conversation with you. So I just put a link up on the screen. It is lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. That's how B and I first met, was she booked that initial breakthrough session with me. That link will simply take you into my calendar. Just find a time that works for you. There'll be a brief application and intake form to fill out so that I can just get a little context for what you are struggling with and where you want to go. And then we'll simply just jump on that call and have an honest, authentic conversation so that I can see if we are a fit to work together and if now is the right time. And if you have the characteristic traits to succeed on that journey of working together, because that's important too. And if it's not the right time or we're not a fit, that's okay. I will do everything in my power to steer you in the best direction for you so that you do get clarity and value from that chat that we will have. So again, that's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. And I'm sure B, you have some final words you'd love to say as well. And I really appreciate you bringing this topic up for our beautiful Loving Without Boundaries community.
Yeah, it's been my absolute pleasure. Yeah, I both of you questions. So as we keep saying, transformation happens in the specifics. So question number one, what are your significant beliefs and fears around boundaries that have the most impact on your attitude and approach to boundaries? And once you identified some beliefs and fears that block you in how you want to set boundaries, turn it into the opposite. Like, what is it that you would love to embrace instead of those fears or limiting beliefs? And the next question is, if you were able to turn around those beliefs and fears that stop you from setting the boundaries how you ideally want them to be, what could be available to you? So you future pace yourself with that, like, oh, if I could achieve this type of confidence or approach around boundaries, these type of things could be available to me in my relationships. And the final question, what do you think might need to happen in order for you to build that confidence that you wanted to build that comfort around setting and receiving boundaries? Is it some type of skill, for example, adding some effective communication skills? Is it emotional regulation in the moment because you notice that you keep collapsing back into old patterns, or a freeze response when you want to set boundaries? Is it healing something possibly from the past? Is it leaning into expert support or practice something that is supportive of you setting of your boundaries? So what do you think might need to happen for you to have the confidence in your boundary skill set in a way that you want to have that?
Thank you for those really insightful questions, B. You are amazing. So we'll start to wrap this up. But again, if you are seeking community, feel free to find our free online community that is almost 16,000 people strong on Facebook at Loving Without Boundaries, Healthy Open Relationships and Lifestyle Freedom. You can also look for our podcast, Living Without Boundaries. It's over 270 episodes strong and still going. Or you can also find some more resources, including books and other free resources at the website, lovingwithoutboundaries.com. So, and again, if you are seeking help and you want to have a conversation to see if working together can help you, we've helped hundreds of people before you. It is our honor and privilege to do so. We are very passionate about the coaching work that we do. And that link is lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. So with that, thank you for tuning in or watching the recording. B, thank you for this beautiful topic, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.